I pushed the wrong elevator button. It was such a simple mistake, the kind everyone makes a dozen times without even noticing. I was supposed to press 7 for my therapy appointment, but I was distracted looking at my phone and pressed 17 instead. The elevator started going up, and I didn't even realize my mistake until the doors opened on the 17th floor. And that's when I saw them. 3 men in dark suits standing directly in front of the elevator, staring at me like they had been expecting me. The one in the middle, a tall man with graying hair and cold blue eyes, looked me up and down and said, "Right on time, Dr. Hayes. We've been waiting for you." The problem was, my name isn't Dr. Hayes. My name is Emma Rodriguez. I'm 29 years old, I work as a graphic designer, and I have never been a doctor of anything. But before I could say any of this, before I could tell these men they had the wrong person, one of them stepped into the elevator, pressed a button to override the doors, and said, "Please come with us. This is a matter of national security." And that's how my completely normal Tuesday turned into the strangest, most terrifying week of my life. Let me start from the beginning, because none of what happened makes sense without understanding who I am and why 3 government agents would mistake me for someone important enough to be involved in matters of national security. I'm nobody special. I grew up in a small town in New Jersey, went to State College for graphic design, and moved to Manhattan 3 years ago to work for a mid-size advertising agency. I live in a tiny studio apartment in Queens that costs me almost my entire paycheck. I have student loans, a cat named Pickles, and a dating life that can best be described as non-existent. The most exciting thing that had happened to me in the past year was when I won $50 on a scratch-off lottery ticket. That Tuesday morning started like any other Tuesday. I woke up at 7 a.m., fed Pickles, took a shower, and got dressed for work. I had a 9 a.m. meeting with a client who was launching a new organic juice brand and wanted me to design their logo. It was boring work, but it paid the bills. After the meeting, I grabbed lunch at my usual spot, a sandwich place 2 blocks from my office. Then I remembered I had a therapy appointment at 3 p.m. I had been seeing Dr. Patricia Morgan for about 6 months. Nothing serious, just the usual quarter-life crisis stuff. Am I wasting my life? Am I ever going to find a meaningful relationship? Why does adulting feel so hard? Dr. Morgan's office was in a high-rise building in Midtown, one of those gleaming glass towers with marble lobbies and elevators that moved so fast your ears popped. Her office was on the 7th floor. I had been there a dozen times. I knew exactly where to go. But that day, I was distracted. I was scrolling through Instagram in the elevator, barely paying attention, and when I reached out to press the button for the 7th floor, I hit 17 instead. I didn't even notice until the elevator had climbed past the 10th floor and showed no signs of stopping. I looked up from my phone and saw the display showing 15, then 16, then 17. "Oh no," I muttered to myself. "Wrong floor." I figured I would just get off, take the elevator back down, and be a few minutes late to my appointment. No big deal. But when those doors opened on the 17th floor, everything changed. The 3 men were standing there in a semicircle, like they had been positioned specifically to intercept whoever came out of that elevator. They were all wearing dark suits, white shirts and ties. They all had the same serious expression, and they were all staring directly at me. "Right on time, Dr. Hayes," the tall one in the middle said. His voice was deep and authoritative. "We've been waiting for you." "I'm not Dr. Hayes," I said immediately. "I think you have the wrong person." The man's expression didn't change. He looked at something on a tablet one of the other men was holding, then back at me. "Emma Rodriguez, 29 years old, resident of Queens, correct?" "Yes," I said slowly, "but I'm not a doctor. I'm a graphic designer. I think there's been some kind of mistake." "There's no mistake," the man said. "Please come with us. We need to speak with you about a matter of urgent importance." "This is insane," I said. "I don't know who you think I am, but I'm just here for a therapy appointment. I pushed the wrong elevator button, that's all." "Miss Rodriguez," the man said, his tone becoming firmer, "this is not optional. We are with the Department of Homeland Security, and we have reason to believe you have information pertinent to an ongoing investigation. We need you to come with us voluntarily, or we will be forced to compel your cooperation." He pulled out a badge and held it up for me to see. It looked official. DHS, Agent Michael Brennan. I felt my heart start to pound. This wasn't a joke. These weren't actors or pranksters. These were actual government agents, and they thought I was involved in something. "What investigation?" I asked, my voice shaking. "What are you talking about?" "We'll explain everything once we're in a secure location," Agent Brennan said.
"Please step out of the elevator." I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to refuse, to demand a lawyer, to insist they tell me what was going on. But another part of me was genuinely scared. These were government agents. They had badges. They knew my name and address. What if I was in some kind of trouble I didn't even know about? So I stepped out of the elevator. The doors closed behind me, and suddenly I felt very trapped. Agent Brennan gestured down the hallway. "This way, please." The 17th floor was completely different from the rest of the building. Instead of the bright, modern offices I had seen on the 7th floor, this floor was all white walls, fluorescent lighting, and doors with keypads instead of handles. It looked like something out of a government facility, not a commercial office building. We walked down the hallway to a door at the end. Agent Brennan swiped a card, entered a code on the keypad, and the door unlocked with a heavy click. Inside was a conference room with a long table, several chairs, and no windows. The walls were painted a sterile white, and there was nothing on them. No artwork, no posters, nothing. It felt like an interrogation room. "Please have a seat," Agent Brennan said. I sat down in one of the chairs, and the 3 men positioned themselves around the room. One sat across from me, one stood by the door, and Agent Brennan sat at the head of the table. "Ms. Rodriguez," he began, "we're going to ask you some questions, and it's very important that you answer them honestly and completely. Do you understand?" "I guess," I said, "but I still don't understand what this is about. What investigation? What information do you think I have?" Agent Brennan opened a folder that had been sitting on the table. Inside were several documents and what looked like photographs. "Ms. Rodriguez, are you familiar with the name Dr. Catherine Hayes?" "No," I said. "I've never heard that name." "Are you certain?" Agent Brennan asked, watching me carefully. "Positive," I said. "Who is she?" "Dr. Hayes is a scientist," Agent Brennan said. "She works in a classified field related to national security. 2 days ago, she went missing. We have reason to believe her disappearance is connected to a larger threat." "Okay," I said, "but what does that have to do with me?" Agent Brennan slid one of the photographs across the table. It showed a woman who looked to be in her early 40s, with dark hair and glasses. She was standing in what looked like a laboratory. "Is this Dr. Hayes?" I asked. "Yes," Agent Brennan said. "Take a close look at her. Have you ever seen this woman before?" I studied the photo carefully. The woman looked completely unfamiliar. "I've never seen her," I said. "I'm sorry, but I don't know this person." Agent Brennan exchanged a glance with one of the other agents. Then he slid another photograph across the table. This one made my stomach drop. It was a photo of me, or at least it looked like me. Same dark hair, same facial structure, same eyes. But it wasn't me. The woman in the photo was wearing a lab coat and standing in what looked like the same laboratory as Dr. Hayes, and she was talking to Dr. Hayes, the two of them clearly in the middle of a conversation. "That's not me," I said immediately. "I don't know who that is, but it's not me. I've never been to a laboratory. I'm a graphic designer. I work in advertising." "The resemblance is remarkable," Agent Brennan said. "You're saying you have no knowledge of this photo or the woman in it?" "None," I insisted. "I swear that's not me." "Where was this photo taken? When?" "The photo was taken 3 months ago at a secure research facility in Virginia," Agent Brennan said. "The woman in the photo was identified as Dr. Sarah Chen, a colleague of Dr. Hayes. But when we ran facial recognition on Dr. Chen, we got a match to you. To your driver's license photo, your passport photo, your social media accounts. According to our technology, the woman in this photo is you." "That's impossible," I said. "I've never been to Virginia. I've never worked in a lab. I don't even know what kind of research this is. You can check my records. You can talk to my boss, my coworkers, anyone. I was at work 3 months ago. I was in New York. I can prove it." Agent Brennan was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Ms. Rodriguez, I'm going to be honest with you. Either you're telling the truth and there's an incredible coincidence happening here, or you're lying and you're involved in something extremely dangerous. Either way, we need to figure out what's going on. And until we do, I'm afraid we're going to need to keep you here." "Keep me here?" I repeated. "Like, detain me?" "For your safety and for ours," Agent Brennan said. "We need to investigate this connection between you and Dr. Chen. If you're truly not involved, then we'll clear you and you can go. But until then, we can't risk letting you leave." "This is crazy," I said, my voice rising. "You can't just keep me here. I have rights. I want a lawyer." "You're not under arrest," Agent Brennan said. "You're being held as a material witness in a matter of national security. The rules are different. You'll be provided with food, water, and accommodations.
But for now, you're not leaving this building." I felt tears starting to build behind my eyes. This couldn't be happening. I had pushed the wrong elevator button, and now I was being detained by Homeland Security because I looked like some scientist I had never met. But then I thought of something. "Wait," I said. "You said your facial recognition matched me to this Dr. Chen woman, right?" "That's correct," Agent Brennan said. "So that means your technology is wrong," I said. "Or someone is using my identity, because I'm telling you, that's not me in that photo. I've never been to that lab. If your system says it's me, then someone must have stolen my identity or created a fake identity using my information." Agent Brennan considered this. "It's possible," he admitted. "Identity theft in cases like this isn't unheard of, but we'll need to verify your claims, which means we'll need to keep you here while we investigate." "For how long?" I asked. "As long as it takes," Agent Brennan said. He stood up. "For now, Agent Torres will show you to a room where you can wait. We'll bring you something to eat and answer any questions we can. But Miss Rodriguez, I need you to understand the seriousness of this situation. Dr. Hayes is missing. Dr. Chen, whoever she really is a person of interest, and you are currently our only lead." "I didn't do anything," I said quietly. "I know this looks bad, but I swear I'm telling you the truth." "We'll see," Agent Brennan said. Then he left the room. One of the other agents, a woman I hadn't really looked at before, approached me. She was younger than Brennan, maybe in her early 30s, with dark hair pulled back in a tight bun. "Miss Rodriguez, I'm Agent Torres," she said. Her voice was softer than Brennan's, almost sympathetic. "I know this is scary and confusing, but I promise we'll get to the bottom of this. If you cooperate with us, if you're honest, this will go much smoother." "I am being honest," I said. "I don't know anything about any of this." Agent Torres nodded. "Then let's hope we can prove that quickly. Come with me." She led me out of the conference room and down another hallway. We stopped at a door that looked like all the others, and she unlocked it with a keypad code. Inside was a small room with a bed, a desk, and a chair. There was a tiny bathroom attached. It looked like a college dorm room, except with no windows and a heavy door that locked from the outside. "This is where you'll be staying," Agent Torres said. "There's a call button by the bed if you need anything. Someone will bring you dinner in a few hours." "Am I a prisoner?" I asked. "You're a witness," Agent Torres said. "There's a difference." She left, and I heard the door lock behind her. I sat down on the bed and tried to process what had just happened. An hour ago, I was on my way to therapy. Now I was locked in a room in a secret government facility because I looked like a woman I had never met who was somehow connected to a missing scientist and what sounded like a potential national security threat. I pulled out my phone to call someone, anyone, but there was no signal. Of course there wasn't. This place was probably designed to block all communication. I was completely cut off from the outside world. I lay down on the bed and stared at the ceiling. How was this my life? How did pushing the wrong elevator button lead to this? For the first few hours, I just lay there in shock. Then someone knocked on the door and brought in a tray of food. Chicken, rice, vegetables, and a bottle of water. It was actually decent food, which somehow made everything feel even more surreal.
I ate because I didn't know what else to do. Then I tried to sleep, but I couldn't. My mind was racing. Who was Dr. Chen? Why did she look like me? Was it possible we were related somehow? Could she be a long-lost cousin or something? But that didn't make sense. The facial recognition technology wouldn't mistake relatives for the same person, would it? Around 10 p.m., Agent Torres came back. She sat down in the desk chair while I sat on the bed. "How are you doing?" she asked. "How do you think?" I said. "I'm locked in a room being accused of something I didn't do." "I understand your frustration," Agent Torres said. "But I want you to know that we're taking your claims seriously. We've been investigating your background all day." "Really?" I said. And so far everything checks out," Agent Torres admitted. "Your employment records, your social media activity, your credit card transactions, they all place you in New York for the past several years. There's no evidence you've ever been to the facility in Virginia where that photo was taken." "So you believe me?" I said. "I believe that you're not Dr. Chen," Agent Torres said. "But that doesn't solve our problem, because someone who looks exactly like you was at that facility. Someone who worked with Dr. Hayes. And now Dr. Hayes is missing, and Dr. Chen has disappeared too. So what does that mean for me?" I asked. "It means we need to figure out who Dr. Chen really is, and why she's using your face." "I have a theory," I said. Agent Torres raised her eyebrows. "I'm listening." "What if it's not that she is using my face?" I said. "What if someone made her look like me? Like plastic surgery or something?" Agent Torres considered this. "It's possible," she said. "But why? Why would someone go through the trouble of making a scientist look like a random graphic designer from New York?" "I don't know," I admitted. "But it makes more sense than me somehow having a secret life as a scientist that I don't remember." Agent Torres smiled slightly. "You'd be surprised what people are capable of hiding. But I agree, your theory is worth exploring. We're going to keep investigating. In the meantime, try to get some rest. We'll have more questions for you tomorrow." She left, and once again I was alone. This time, exhaustion won out over anxiety, and I managed to fall asleep. I dreamed about laboratories and scientists, and men in suits chasing me through endless white hallways. When I woke up the next morning, someone had brought breakfast. Eggs, toast, orange juice. I ate mechanically, my mind still trying to make sense of everything. Around 9 a.m., Agent Brennan came to get me. He took me back to the conference room where 2 other people were waiting. One was a woman in her 50s with short gray hair and a no-nonsense expression. The other was a younger man with glasses and a laptop. "Miss Rodriguez, this is Dr. Patricia Lawson," Agent Brennan said, gesturing to the woman. "She's a psychologist who specializes in memory and identity. And this is Agent Ryan Cooper, our technical specialist." I nodded at them both, confused about why they were here. Dr. Lawson smiled at me warmly. "Miss Rodriguez, I'm here to help us understand if there's any possibility you could have had experiences you don't remember." "What does that mean?" I asked. "It means we need to rule out the possibility that you've been living a double life without being aware of it," Dr. Lawson said. "It sounds strange, but there are psychological conditions, dissociative identity disorder, dissociative fugue states, even drug-induced amnesia, that could theoretically allow someone to have entire experiences they don't consciously remember." "You think I have multiple personalities?" I asked incredulously. "I'm not diagnosing you with anything," Dr. Lawson said. "I'm simply here to conduct an evaluation to rule out these possibilities. It's standard procedure in cases like this." "Fine," I said. "What do you want to know?" For the next 2 hours, Dr. Lawson asked me questions about my childhood, my relationships, my daily routines. She asked if I had ever lost time, if I had ever woken up in places I didn't remember going to, if I had ever found evidence of activities I didn't recall doing. The answer to all of it was no. I had a completely normal, boring life. No mysterious gaps in my memory, no strange blackouts, no unexplained trips. After the evaluation, Dr. Lawson spoke privately with Agent Brennan, then came back to talk to me. "Miss Rodriguez," she said,
Based on my assessment, I see no evidence of dissociative disorders or any other condition that would explain a secret life. In my professional opinion, you are who you say you are. So, I can go? I asked hopefully. Not yet, Agent Brennan said. We still need to figure out who Dr. Chen is and why she looks like you. That's where Agent Cooper comes in. The young man with the laptop opened it and turned it to face me. Miss Rodriguez, I've been analyzing the photo of Dr. Chen very carefully, he said, and I found something interesting. What? I asked. The photo has been digitally altered, Agent Cooper said. Not in an obvious way, but there are subtle signs of manipulation. Specifically, Dr. Chen's face appears to have been modified. Someone used sophisticated software to make her look more like you. I felt a surge of relief. So it's not me, I said. It's someone else who was made to look like me digitally. That's correct, Agent Cooper said. The base image is of a different woman, but facial features were adjusted to match your driver's license photo. The cheekbones, the eye shape, the nose, they've all been altered to create a match. But why would someone do that? I asked. That's what we need to find out, Agent Brennan said. But this changes things. You're not a suspect anymore, Miss Rodriguez. You're a victim. Someone has been using your identity to create a false persona, and that person was working with Dr. Hayes, who is now missing. So, someone stole my identity and used it to infiltrate a government research facility, I said slowly. And now a scientist is missing, and you think this fake version of me is involved. Exactly, Agent Brennan said, which means you might still be in danger. If whoever created this false identity knows that we've connected it to you, they might try to silence you. I felt cold fear wash over me. What are you saying? I'm saying we need to keep you in protective custody for a little while longer, Agent Brennan said. Not because we suspect you of anything, but because we need to make sure you're safe. For how long? I asked. Until we find Dr. Hayes and identify who's behind this false identity, Agent Brennan said. Could be days, could be weeks.
This is unbelievable, I said. My whole life is in New York. My job, my apartment, my cat. You can't just keep me here indefinitely. We'll make arrangements for your cat, Agent Torres said. And we'll contact your employer with a cover story. As far as they'll know, you've had a family emergency and need to take a leave of absence. What about my friends? I asked. What about my therapist? I was supposed to see her yesterday. We'll handle it, Agent Brennan said. For now, your safety is our priority. I wanted to argue, to insist on my rights, to demand they let me go. But the truth was, I was scared. If someone had gone to the trouble of stealing my identity and creating a fake scientist version of me, and that fake scientist was connected to a missing woman, then maybe I really was in danger. Fine, I said. But you have to keep me updated. I want to know what's happening with this investigation. Agreed, Agent Brennan said. Over the next 3 days, I lived in that strange limbo. Time moved differently in that windowless room. Without natural light, without my normal routine, I lost track of whether it was morning or night. I would wake up at what felt like 6 a.m., only to check my phone and see it was actually 2 p.m. The disorientation was maddening. I was given books to read, mysteries and thrillers that felt grimly appropriate given my situation. I had access to a TV with basic channels, and I found myself watching the news obsessively, half expecting to see something about missing scientists or identity theft, but there was never anything. Whatever was happening with this investigation, it was being kept completely quiet. 3 meals a day arrived like clockwork. Breakfast at 8 a.m., lunch at noon, dinner at 6 p.m. The food was surprisingly good, better than I expected for what was essentially a detention facility. Someone had clearly put thought into varied menus and decent preparation. But eating alone in that small room, day after day, made even the best food taste bland. Agent Torres checked on me regularly, and I started to look forward to her visits like they were the highlight of my day. She was the only human contact I had, the only person who talked to me like I was a real person instead of a problem to be solved. On the second day, she brought me a notebook and pen. I thought you might want to write or draw or something, she said, just to pass the time.
Thank you, I said, genuinely grateful. It's harder than I expected, being stuck in here. I know, Agent Torres said. I've seen it affect people before. Isolation is difficult, even when you know it's temporary and for a good reason. How long have you worked for Homeland Security? I asked. 7 years, she said. Started right out of college. Have you ever had a case like this before? I asked. Someone with a stolen identity being used for espionage or whatever this is? A few times, Agent Torres admitted. But usually it's much more straightforward. Someone steals an identity to commit financial fraud or to cross a border illegally. This level of sophistication, creating an entirely fake persona, manipulating photos with AI, infiltrating a secure facility, that's rare. Lucky me, I said sarcastically. Agent Torres smiled sympathetically. For what it's worth, you're handling this remarkably well. A lot of people in your situation would be much more difficult to work with. What choice do I have? I asked. You've made it clear I can't leave. You always have a choice in how you respond to a situation, Agent Torres said. You could be angry, hostile, uncooperative. You could demand a lawyer and refuse to answer questions. Some people do. But you've been rational and helpful. That matters. After she left, I used the notebook to write down everything that had happened. Starting from the moment I pushed the wrong elevator button, I documented every detail I could remember. What the agents had said, what questions they'd asked, what I'd felt at each moment. I'm not sure why I felt compelled to do this. Maybe I was worried I would forget details later. Maybe I just needed something to do with my hands, with my mind. Or maybe on some level, I knew this would become a story I would need to tell someday. On the third day, Agent Torres came to see me with news about the investigation's progress. We've been making headway, she said. I can't share everything, but I can tell you what directly involves you. Okay, I said, sitting up straighter on the bed. We've identified the real Dr. Sarah Chen. She's a legitimate scientist who worked at the facility in Virginia. She took a leave of absence 3 months ago to deal with a family situation. Her sister in California was going through a divorce and needed help with her kids. During that leave, someone used her credentials to gain access to the facility. What kind of access? I asked. Security badges, computer logins, research databases, Agent Torres said. Whoever impersonated Dr. Chen had high-level clearance and used it to get close to Dr. Hayes and her work. We found the real Sarah Chen in California, staying with her sister. She had no idea her identity had been compromised.
So someone stole her identity and used it to infiltrate the facility? I said. And they made this fake Dr. Chen look like me? But why? Why use my face? That's what we're still trying to understand, Agent Torres said. But we think it might have been about creating distance and confusion. If the fake identity got caught, it would lead back to you, a random civilian with no connection to the facility or the intelligence community. It would muddy the investigation. So I was just collateral damage, I said. A face chosen at random to create a false trail. Essentially, Agent Torres said. I'm sorry, it's not fair. Nothing about this is fair, I said, feeling a surge of anger. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just living my life, and someone decided to steal my face and use it for crimes? I know, Agent Torres said gently. And we're going to find out who did this. We're tracing the source of the photo manipulation, tracking financial records, interviewing everyone who interacted with the fake Dr. Chen at the facility. We will figure this out. How much longer do I have to stay here? I asked. I don't know, Agent Torres admitted, but I promise we're working as fast as we can. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed thinking about the fact that somewhere out there, someone was walking around with my face, or at least a digitally altered version of it. Someone who was involved in serious crimes, potentially espionage. Someone who had gotten close to a scientist working on classified research. It was violating in a way I had never experienced before. I had worried about identity theft in the abstract, the way everyone does. I had credit monitoring alerts and strong passwords, but this wasn't someone stealing my credit card number or my social security number. This was someone stealing my face, my physical appearance, and using it to become someone else entirely. I thought about all the photos I had posted on social media over the years. Instagram selfies, Facebook profile pictures, LinkedIn headshots. Any one of those could have been the source image they used. I had put my face out there for the world to see, never thinking about how it could be weaponized against me. The next morning, the 4th day of my detention, everything changed. Agent Brennan came to my room earlier than usual, around 7 a.m. He looked like he hadn't slept. "Ms. Rodriguez, we need to talk," he said. His tone was urgent but not hostile. "Did something happen?" I asked. "We found Dr. Hayes," he said. "Is she okay?" I asked, sitting up quickly. "She's alive," Agent Brennan said, "but barely. She was held captive by a group that was trying to force her to give them classified information about her research. She was found in an abandoned warehouse in New Jersey, dehydrated and injured, but she'll recover." "Oh my God," I breathed. "Did she tell you who took her?" "Some of it," Agent Brennan said. "She's still being debriefed, but she confirmed that the fake Dr. Chen was involved in her kidnapping. The fake Dr. Chen befriended Dr. Hayes over a period of several weeks, gained her trust, and then helped orchestrate her abduction." "So I was right," I said. "The person using my face was working with criminals." "With terrorists, actually," Agent Brennan corrected. "The group that took Dr. Hayes is connected to a larger network that wants to acquire advanced technology for hostile purposes." I felt sick. Terrorists were using my face? "What kind of research was Dr. Hayes doing?" I asked. "I can't give you specific details," Agent Brennan said, "but I can tell you it involved technology that could be extremely dangerous in the wrong hands. Advanced surveillance systems, encryption-breaking tools, things that could compromise national security if they were stolen or sold." "And these people used me to get to her?" I said. "They used your face," Agent Brennan corrected. "You personally did nothing wrong. But yes, your identity was weaponized against Dr. Hayes and against national security." "So what happens now?" I asked. "Now we need your help," Agent Brennan said. Agent Brennan came to my room looking more serious than usual. "Ms. Rodriguez, we've had a breakthrough," he said. "We found Dr. Hayes." "Is she okay?" I asked, sitting up quickly. "She's alive," Agent Brennan said, "but barely. She was held captive by a group that was trying to force her to give them classified information about her research." "What kind of research?" I asked. "I can't give you details," Agent Brennan said, "but it's related to advanced technology that could be weaponized if it fell into the wrong hands. These people created the fake Dr. Chen identity to get close to Dr. Hayes, gain her trust, and extract information." "And they used my face?" I said. "Why?" "We're still piecing that together," Agent Brennan said, "but we think it was random. They needed a fake identity, they found your information online, probably from a data breach or social media, and they used AI and photo manipulation to create a convincing false identity. You were just unlucky." "So what happens now?" I asked. "Now we need you to do something for us," Agent Brennan said. "The group that took Dr. Hayes is still out there. We arrested some of their people, but not all of them. And we have reason to believe they might try to contact you." "Why would they contact me?" I asked. "Because as far as they know, you're Dr. Chen," Agent Brennan said. "They might not realize we figured out it was a fake identity. If they try to reach out to you, we want you to cooperate with us. Help us draw them out so we can arrest the rest of them." "You want me to be bait?" I said. "We want you to help us finish this," Agent Brennan said. "You've already been dragged into the situation through no fault of your own. Now we're giving you a chance to help us catch the people responsible and make sure they can't do this to anyone else." I thought about it. Part of me wanted to refuse, to demand they let me go back to my normal life and forget any of this ever happened. But another part of me was angry. These people had stolen my identity. They had used my face to commit crimes. They had turned my life upside down. Maybe it was time to fight back. "Okay," I said. What do you need me to do? Over the next week, I worked with the FBI and Homeland Security to set a trap. They explained the plan to me in careful detail. The fake Dr. Chen identity had a phone number associated with it, one that had been used to communicate with other members of the criminal network. That number had been dormant since Dr. Hayes was found, but the FBI believed the network didn't yet know their operation had been exposed. They gave me a new phone with that number attached. It was a secure device, monitored 24 hours a day by a team of technical specialists. Every call, every text, every piece of data that touched that phone would be recorded and analyzed. My job was simple in theory, but terrifying in practice. If anyone from the network contacted me, I was to pretend to be Dr. Chen. I was to sound scared, confused, but willing to cooperate. The goal was to draw them out, to get them to meet with me in person so the FBI could make arrests. But what if they know it's not really her? I asked Agent Brennan during one of our planning sessions. What if they can tell I'm not the person they've been working with? That's a risk, Agent Brennan admitted, but we think it's worth taking. These people have never met you in person. They've only worked with the fake Dr. Chen through secure channels, phone calls, encrypted messages. If you're careful, if you stick to the script we prepare, you should be able to fool them. And if I can't? I asked. If they figure out I'm not her? Then we abort the operation and go to Plan B, Agent Brennan said. What's Plan B? I asked. We keep hunting them the old-fashioned way, Agent Brennan said, but it would take longer and give them more time to disappear. So no pressure, I said sarcastically. I know this is asking a lot, Agent Torres said. She had been sitting quietly in the corner of the conference room, but now she spoke up. You didn't ask to be part of this. You didn't do anything to deserve being put in this position. If you want to say no, if you want us to find another way, we'll understand. I thought about it, really thought about it. I could refuse. I could demand they let me go back to my normal life and they would have to comply. I wasn't under arrest. I wasn't being charged with anything. I was a witness, and witnesses have rights. But then I thought about Dr. Hayes, held captive in a warehouse, dehydrated and terrified. I thought about the fact that these people had stolen my face and used it to hurt someone. I thought about the fact that they were still out there, still dangerous, still capable of hurting more people. I'll do it, I said. But I need you to promise me something. Anything, Agent Brennan said. Promise me that if this goes wrong, if I'm in danger, you'll get me out, I said. Promise me you won't let them hurt me just to catch them. You have my word, Agent Brennan said. Your safety is our primary priority. We wouldn't let you do this if we thought there was a significant risk. Over the next few days, I was trained like an agent. They taught me how to wear a wire without it being detected. They taught me what to say and what not to say on phone calls. They taught me how to spot surveillance, how to signal for help, and how to stay calm under pressure. It was surreal. A week earlier, I had been a graphic designer worried about logo mock-ups and client feedback. Now I was learning tradecraft from federal agents. But I was also discovering something about myself. I was good at this. I was good at staying calm, at thinking on my feet, at playing a role. Maybe it was because I had spent the past week being interrogated and detained. Maybe I had already been through so much that this felt like just another weird chapter in an absurd story. Or maybe I was just tougher than I thought I was. On the third day of waiting, something happened. I was sitting in my room, reading one of the books Agent Torres had brought me, when the phone rang. I stared at it for a moment, my heart suddenly pounding. This was it. I pressed the button to answer, remembering everything I had been taught. Keep your voice calm but slightly nervous. Don't volunteer information. Let them do most of the talking. Hello? I said. There was silence on the other end for a few seconds. Then a voice, distorted by some kind of electronic filter, spoke. Dr. Chen, the voice said. We've been trying to reach you. I swallowed hard. This is Chen, I said. My voice was shaking slightly, but that was okay. That was expected. Dr. Chen would be scared right now. We know you've been compromised, the voice said. We know the FBI has connected you to Dr. Hayes. I felt a chill run down my spine. They knew about Dr. Hayes being found. They knew the investigation was ongoing. How much else did they know? I don't know what you're talking about, I said, sticking to the script I had practiced. What do you mean, compromised? Don't play games, the voice said sharply. We have sources inside law enforcement. We know they found Dr. Hayes. We know they're looking for you. You need to disappear before they find you. What am I supposed to do? I asked. Where am I supposed to go? We'll help you, the voice said. We have extraction protocols for situations like this, but you need to follow our instructions exactly. Do you understand? Yes, I said. Good, the voice said. We'll be in touch with details. Stay by this phone. Don't go anywhere. Don't talk to anyone. If the FBI contacts you, don't answer. The line went dead. I sat there holding the phone, my hand trembling. Agent Torres, who had been listening through headphones the entire time, came over and sat down next to me. You did great, she said. That was perfect. Did you get a trace? I asked. Our tech team is working on it now, Agent Torres said. But these people are sophisticated. They're using VPNs and encrypted routing. It might take time. So what now? I asked. Now we wait for them to call back with instructions, Agent Torres said, and we prepare for whatever they ask you to do. The next call came 2 days later. This time the voice was more specific. Dr. Chen, we're going to extract you tomorrow night, the voice said. There's a car service that will pick you up at 8 p.m., corner of 5th Avenue and 42nd Street. Come alone. If you bring anyone with you, if we detect any surveillance, the deal is off. I'll be there, I said. Don't bring anything with you, the voice said. No bags, no devices except the phone we gave you. We'll provide you with everything you need once you're in the safe house. Okay, I said. Dr. Chen, the voice said, and for the first time I heard something almost like emotion in the distorted sound. You've done good work for us. We're not going to abandon you now. The line went dead again. I looked at Agent Torres. They think I'm her, I said. They really think I'm her. That's good, Agent Torres said. That means the operation can move forward. But I could see concern in her eyes. She was worried too. The next evening, I was fitted with a wire and given specific instructions. I was to go to the corner of 5th and 42nd, get into whatever vehicle came to pick me up, and stay calm. There would be FBI agents following at a distance, and they would move in to make arrests as soon as it was safe. I'm not going to lie. I was terrified. What if something went wrong? What if these people realized I wasn't really Dr. Chen? What if they hurt me? But Agent Torres stayed with me the whole time, reassuring me that I would be safe, that they had done this hundreds of times, that they wouldn't let anything happen to me. At 7:45 p.m., I was driven to the location in an unmarked car. Agent Torres squeezed my hand before I got out. You've got this, she said. Just remember, we're right here. We won't let you out of our sight. I nodded, took a deep breath, and stepped out onto the sidewalk. The street was busy with evening traffic and pedestrians. I stood on the corner trying to look casual, trying not to let my fear show. At exactly 8 p.m., a black SUV pulled up to the curb. The back door opened and a voice from the inside said, "Get in." I got in. There were 2 people in the car. A driver I couldn't see clearly, and a man in the back seat wearing a suit and sunglasses even though it was nighttime. "Welcome back, Dr. Chen," the man said. "We have a lot to discuss." I didn't say anything. My heart was pounding so hard I was sure he could hear it. The car started driving. I had no idea where we were going. For about 10 minutes, no one spoke. Then the man's phone rang. He answered it, listened for a moment, and his expression changed. "Stop the car," he said to the driver. The car pulled over. The man turned to me, and even though I couldn't see his eyes behind the sunglasses, I could feel him staring at me. "You're not Chen. I don't know who you are, but you're not her." Before I could respond, before I could even think, the door on my side opened and someone pulled me out. It was Agent Torres with about a dozen other agents behind her.
FBI, she shouted. You're under arrest. The next few minutes were chaos. The man in the SUV tried to run but was tackled by agents. The driver was pulled from the car. I was moved quickly to a safe distance where Agent Brennan was waiting. Are you okay? He asked. I'm fine, I said. How did they know I wasn't Chen? We think someone on their end saw through the operation, Agent Brennan said.
But it doesn't matter. We got them. It's over. Is it really over? I asked. It's really over, Agent Brennan confirmed. We've arrested everyone involved. Dr. Hayes is safe. And you, Ms. Rodriguez, are free to go back to your life. 2 days later, I was back in my apartment in Queens. Agent Torres herself drove me home, helped me carry in the bag of belongings I had accumulated during my week of detention. Pickles was waiting by the door, having been fed and cared for by my neighbor who I had given an emergency key to months ago. My neighbor, Mrs. Chen, ironically enough, had been checking on him every day. Emma! Pickles meowed loudly, weaving between my legs. I had never been so happy to see my cat. I scooped him up and buried my face in his fur. Hey, buddy, I whispered. I missed you so much. Agent Torres stood in my doorway, looking around my small studio apartment. It wasn't much, just one room with a kitchenette, a bathroom, and barely enough space for a bed, a desk, and a couch. But it was mine, and after a week in that sterile government facility, it looked like paradise. You going to be okay? Agent Torres asked. I think so, I said. It's just going to take some time to process everything. If you need anything, if you have questions or concerns, you have my number, Agent Torres said. Don't hesitate to call, even if it's just to talk. Thank you, I said, for everything. You kept me sane through all of this. You kept yourself sane, Agent Torres corrected. I just helped a little. After she left, I sat on my couch with Pickles purring in my lap and just breathed, in and out, slowly, trying to convince my body that I was safe now, that it was really over. But part of me didn't believe it yet. Part of me was still waiting for someone to knock on my door, for agents to show up and tell me there had been another development, that I wasn't safe after all. I spent that first night just wandering around my apartment, touching things, reminding myself this was real. My books on the shelf, my dishes in the cupboard, my clothes in the closet, my life exactly as I had left it. Except I wasn't exactly as I had left it. Something had changed. I called my boss the next morning. Patricia, it's Emma, I said when she answered. Emma, oh my God, I've been so worried, Patricia said. Your email said family emergency but didn't give any details. Is everything okay? It's complicated, I said. I can't really explain everything, but I'm okay now, and I'd like to come back to work. Of course, Patricia said. Take another few days if you need them, but we'd love to have you back. We've missed you. I went back to work on Monday, exactly 9 days after I had pushed that wrong elevator button. Walking into the office felt strange, like returning to a place I had left years ago instead of just over a week. Everything looked the same. Same desks, same computers, same coffee maker in the break room. But I felt like a different person. My coworkers asked where I had been, what had happened. I gave them the vague cover story I had prepared with Agent Torres. Family emergency, all resolved now, thanks for asking. Most people accepted this and moved on. But my work friend Jessica pulled me aside at lunch. Emma, are you really okay? She asked. You seem different. I'm fine, I said automatically. Then I reconsidered. Actually, I'm not fine, but I will be. Do you want to talk about it? Jessica asked. I can't, I said. Not yet. Maybe not ever, but I appreciate you asking. That week was hard. I kept zoning out during meetings, thinking about the fake Dr. Chen, about the men in suits, about standing on that street corner waiting for criminals to pick me up. I would be working on a logo design and suddenly remember Agent Brennan's face when he told me Dr. Hayes had been found.
I would be eating lunch and flash back to the meals I had eaten alone in that small room. I wasn't sleeping well either. I would wake up in the middle of the night, heart pounding, convinced someone was breaking into my apartment. I would check the locks 3 times before bed, look under my bed, check the closet. I knew it was paranoia. I knew the investigation was over, the criminals were arrested, I was safe. But my body hadn't gotten the message yet. After a particularly bad night where I barely slept at all, I called Dr. Morgan and made an emergency appointment. I sat in her office on the familiar couch I had sat on dozens of times before and started crying before I even said hello. "Emma," Dr. Morgan said gently, "what happened?" I told her everything. The whole story, from pushing the wrong elevator button to being detained by Homeland Security to helping catch criminals. I told her about the fake Dr. Chen, about Dr. Hayes, about the fear and confusion and bizarre unreality of the whole experience. When she finished, Dr. Morgan was quiet for a long moment. "That's possibly the most unusual story I've ever heard from a patient," she finally said. "I know it sounds crazy," I said. "It sounds traumatic," Dr. Morgan corrected. "Emma, what you went through, being detained, being told your identity was stolen, being asked to help catch dangerous criminals, that's serious trauma."
It's completely normal that you're having trouble sleeping and feeling paranoid. What you're describing sounds like acute stress reaction. Is that like PTSD? I asked. It can develop into PTSD if it's not addressed, Dr. Morgan said. But the good news is you're here, you're talking about it, and we can work through this together. We doubled my therapy appointments to twice a week. Dr. Morgan taught me breathing exercises, grounding techniques, ways to manage the anxiety and paranoia. Slowly, very slowly, I started to feel more like myself. I called my best friend Lauren and finally told her the truth. We met for coffee on a Saturday afternoon, and I gave her the full story. Lauren listened with her mouth literally hanging open. "You're telling me you pushed the wrong elevator button and ended up working with the FBI to catch terrorists?" Lauren said when I finished. "That's not possible. That doesn't happen in real life." "I have Agent Torres's phone number if you don't believe me," I said. "I believe you," Lauren said. "I just can't process it." "Emma, this is insane. You could have been killed." "I know," I said quietly. "Did you tell your parents?" Lauren asked. "God, no," I said. "My mom would have a heart attack. She still thinks the most dangerous thing about New York is the subway at night." "You have to tell them eventually," Lauren said. "Do I?" I asked. "I mean, it's over now. Why worry them about something that's already resolved?" "Because you're not okay," Lauren said gently. "I can see it in your eyes. You're scared and traumatized and trying to pretend you're fine. You need support, and that includes your family." "Maybe," I admitted, "but not yet. I'm not ready yet." Lauren reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "I'm here, okay? Whenever you're ready to talk, whenever you need someone, I'm here." That meant more to me than she could know. Over the next few months, I slowly rebuilt my sense of safety. I stopped checking the logs multiple times. I started sleeping through the night. I went back to therapy once a week instead of twice. I even started dating again, going on a few apps dates that ranged from awkward to pleasant, but never spectacular. And I started thinking about the experience differently. At first, all I could focus on was the fear, the violation, the unfairness of it all. But gradually, I started to see other aspects of it. I had handled an impossible situation with grace. I had helped catch criminals. I had learned things about myself I never would have discovered otherwise. I learned I was brave. I learned I could think clearly under pressure. I learned I was capable of much more than I gave myself credit for. 3 months after it all happened, Agent Torres called me. I was at work, designing a website for a new client when my phone rang. "Hey Emma, it's Agent Torres," she said. "Do you have a few minutes to talk?" "Of course," I said, stepping outside into the hallway. "What's up?" "I wanted to give you an update on the case," Agent Torres said. "The trial is moving forward. All the defendants are facing serious charges: conspiracy, espionage, kidnapping. The evidence is strong. They're likely looking at decades in prison." "That's good," I said. "And I just want you to know, your testimony was really important," Agent Torres said. Not just what you did with the operation, but your initial cooperation when we detained you. If you had lawyered up immediately, if you had refused to help, we might not have caught these people. I'm glad I could help, I said. But, Agent Torres, can I ask you something? Anything, she said. That day when the elevator doors opened and you guys were standing there, did you really think I was Dr. Hayes? I asked. Or did you know right away that I wasn't her? We know you weren't Hayes within about 30 seconds, Agent Torres admitted. But we needed to figure out who you were and how you were connected. The facial recognition match to Dr. Chen threw us for a loop. We had to investigate every possibility. So you scared me on purpose, I said. Not to scare you, Agent Torres said. To assess you, to see how you reacted, what you said, whether you were hiding something. I know it was frightening, and I'm sorry for that, but it was necessary. I understand, I said. And honestly, if I'm being completely honest, the whole experience changed my life in ways I'm still figuring out, but maybe not all bad ways. That's a healthy perspective, Agent Torres said. Not everyone can see the growth that comes from trauma. You're stronger than you think, Emma. 3 months have passed since that Tuesday when I pushed the wrong elevator button. Life has mostly returned to normal. I go to work, I hang out with friends, I feed pickles, I see Dr. Morgan every week, but some things have changed fundamentally. I'm more careful now about my digital footprint. I've made most of my social media accounts private. I use stronger passwords and two-factor authentication on everything. I think about identity theft and digital privacy in ways I never did before. But it's more than just practical changes. My whole worldview has shifted. I used to think about my identity as something fixed, something that belonged only to me. My face, my name, my history, these were mine in a way that couldn't be taken. But now I know differently. In the digital age, identity is fluid and vulnerable. With the right technology, someone can take your face and make it do things, say things, be things that have nothing to do with you. They can create an entire person that looks like you, but isn't you at all. It's violating in a way I'm still trying to process. When I look in the mirror now, I sometimes think about the fake Dr. Chen. Is she still out there somewhere? Did they catch everyone involved? Or are there people who got away? Is there someone who has files on their computer with my face, my features, saved for potential future use? These thoughts keep me up at night sometimes. But they've also made me stronger in unexpected ways. I don't take my identity for granted anymore. I don't assume that I'm in control of my own image or my own story. And paradoxically, that awareness has made me more confident. I know now that I can handle things I never thought I could handle. I can stay calm in crisis situations. I can think clearly when I'm scared. I can make hard decisions under pressure. These aren't skills I wanted to learn, but now that I have them, I'm grateful. Last month, I had to go back to that building in Midtown for an actual therapy appointment. Standing in the lobby, waiting for the elevator, I felt my heart start to race. What if I got on the wrong elevator again? What if the doors opened on some floor I wasn't supposed to be on and my life changed all over again? But then I realized something. I wasn't afraid of pushing the wrong button. I was afraid of what I might be capable of if I had to handle another impossible situation. I was afraid of discovering I was even stronger than I already knew. The elevator arrived. I stepped in. I carefully, deliberately pressed the button for the 7th floor. The doors closed, the elevator went up, and when the doors opened, I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Dr. Morgan's office. Normal, safe, predictable. We had a good session that day. We talked about growth and resilience. We talked about how trauma can break you or make you stronger, depending on how you choose to process it. We talked about the fact that I had been broken and had put myself back together in a new configuration. I'm not the same person I was before, I told Dr. Morgan. Is that bad? That depends, Dr. Morgan said. Who are you now? I'm someone who knows how strong she is, I said.
I'm someone who doesn't take her normal, boring life for granted anymore. I'm someone who understands that everything can change in an instant. I'm someone who pushed the wrong elevator button and survived what came next. That sounds like growth to me, Dr. Morgan said. I got a letter in the mail a few weeks ago. It was from Dr. Catherine Hayes, the scientist who had been kidnapped. She had found out I was the person who helped catch the people responsible, and she wanted to thank me. The letter was handwritten on nice stationery, and it said things that made me cry. She thanked me for my courage. She said that because of my willingness to help, she was alive and safe. She said she hoped I understood how many people I had helped by being brave in an impossible situation. At the bottom of the letter, she included her email address and a note that said if I ever wanted to talk, she would be happy to listen. I haven't emailed her yet. I'm not sure what I would say. How do you have a conversation with someone whose life you saved, someone who you've never actually met? But I've kept the letter. It's in a drawer in my desk, and sometimes when I'm feeling down or scared or overwhelmed, I take it out and read it again. It reminds me that what I went through wasn't for nothing. It reminds me that I made a difference. Yesterday, something happened that felt like coming full circle. I was at work, designing a logo for a client, when my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize, and for a moment I felt that old fear. What if it was them? What if the criminals had somehow found me again? But I answered it. And it was just a telemarketer trying to sell me car insurance. I laughed and hung up. Normal, boring, perfect. That's what my life is now. Mostly normal and boring, with an incredibly weird story that most people don't believe when I tell them. And I'm okay with that. I don't need everyone to believe me. I know what happened. I know who I am now. I know what I'm capable of. So yeah, I pushed the wrong elevator button on a Tuesday afternoon 3 months ago, and for a week, my life became something out of a spy movie. Men in suits detained me, my identity was stolen and used for crimes, a scientist was kidnapped, I helped catch terrorists. It was terrifying and surreal and traumatic and bizarrely empowering. But now it's over. I'm back in my tiny apartment with my cat and my normal job and my regular life. And I'm okay with all of it. The normal and the bizarre. The fear and the courage. The before and the after.
Because all of it, every single part, has made me who I am today. And I like who I am today. I'm Emma Rodriguez. I'm 29 years old. I'm a graphic designer from Queens who pushed the wrong elevator button and discovered she was braver than she ever knew. And that's a pretty good story to have. Agent Torres called me last week to check in. She said the trial was progressing and that the people involved in Dr. Hayes' kidnapping and the identity theft were facing serious charges. She also said I might be called to testify at some point. I told her I would if I needed to. As strange as this sounds, she said, you made a real difference in this case. If you hadn't pushed that wrong button, if you hadn't cooperated with us, we might not have caught these people. So, thank you. I didn't know what to say to that. You're welcome felt inadequate. This whole thing still feels surreal, I finally said. I know, Agent Torres said, but that's life sometimes, surreal and unpredictable and occasionally terrifying. But you got through it. And for the record, I hope you never have to go through anything like this again. Me too, I said. Me too. After we hung up, I sat on my couch with Pickles purring in my lap and thought about the randomness of life. How one small action, one tiny mistake can change everything. How you never really know what's waiting for you when those elevator doors open. But here's what I learned from all of this. Sometimes life throws you into situations you could never prepare for. Sometimes you push the wrong button and end up somewhere you never intended to be. And sometimes, when men in suits are waiting for you on the wrong floor, you just have to take a deep breath and deal with it. Because what else can you do? You can't go back and push a different button. You can't undo the mistake. All you can do is move forward, handle whatever comes next as best you can, and hope that when it's all over, you're still standing. I'm still standing, and I'm okay. More than okay, actually. I survived something most people will never experience. I helped stop criminals. I learned that I'm braver than I thought I was. So yeah, I pushed the wrong elevator button, and it turned out to be the wrong button in more ways than one. But somehow, I made it through. And now I have a story that nobody believes, but that I'll never forget. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had pushed the right button that day. If I had gone to the 7th floor for my therapy appointment like I was supposed to, would the FBI have figured out the fake Dr. Chen identity without me? Would those criminals have been caught? Would Dr. Hayes have been rescued? I'll never know. All I know is that one small mistake led to something much bigger than I could have imagined, and somehow I'm grateful for it. Not grateful that it happened exactly, but grateful that I learned what I'm capable of. Grateful that I helped someone. Grateful that I'm still here to tell the story. Life is weird like that. One minute you're scrolling through Instagram in an elevator, and the next minute you're caught up in a national security investigation. One minute you're nobody special, and the next minute you're the key to catching criminals. It's all random. It's all unpredictable. It's all one wrong button away from changing completely. So now, when I get in an elevator, I double-check the button before I press it. But I also remind myself that even if I push the wrong one, I'll figure it out. I'll handle it. I'll survive. Because that's what I do now. I'm Emma Rodriguez. I'm 29 years old. I'm a graphic designer from Queens. And I'm the woman who pushed the wrong elevator button and lived to tell the tale.